Hi Colin, well, this is your box before I pack it up, of course. I'm sending you a bottle of just the ordinary blue dawning solution with a, well, I call it the 4ml plastic squirty pipette, but it's only 4 mils if you fill it up completely. But it usually does 1 squirt is 2.5 mils, 2 squirts is 5 mils, 3 squirts is 7.5 mils. I recommend for seedlings and small cuttings and things just 1 squirt, the usual 2.5 mils, and wait for the plant to grow and maybe add some more later on. Best time to add the fertiliser is at night time, of course, because it's got salts in here, of course, so it's always best to put salty things on your plants late at night so you don't put so much of a strain on the plants. Then we have the high nickel true serpentine formulation. That's why it's in the plastic poison bottle, or it's a washed out hydrochloric acid bottle. This is the type of bottle I definitely would like in the future. If you could find me a source for these, well, I'll be eternally grateful for you. Then we have a cerium solution. I found the best way for this, because it easily falls out of solution, so you know, any sulfate, any phosphate, because it naturally occurs in monazite sand, of course, which is a phosphorosilicate matrix, so it's already locked up, and only plants such as our Australian natives that produce phosphatases that extract the phosphorus from these phosphorosilicate matrices have the possibility of extracting these rare earths from these sands, these phosphorosilicate sands. That, as I've said before, appear to occur all the way around the coastline of the southwest of Western Australia, and there's lots of mines have been popping up since 1998 quite regularity, and there's 2 of them which are in areas that have pygmy drosterus named after them, although so far pygmy drosterus don't seem to respond, so I think that's just a coincidence, but you never know, there might be another rare earth out there that the pygmies respond to. As I said, there's probably possibly two boron substitutes, one control for replacing the sugar translocation, the other one for starch accumulation. Just predicted there's probably 1, maybe 2. You know, there might be more, but there's about 15 of them to search through, and I'll probably leave this work for other people to do. But the best thing I found, because it falls out of solution so easy, is to just pour some into a beaker, you know, a small little beaker, you know, the usual 50 ml type beakers you get, and just slosh your granada roots around in that before you plant them into your heap. I'm sending you some. This is double fluff polypete, as in the general process of the August meeting handout. Nothing special about this. This has still got too much iron and too much copper in it, as we've learned in the last 6 months. To get better growth, you need some extensions to the poly. So I mean, it's a lot heavier. You can see it's got at least twice as much. Whoa! That's what one Jenny at our meeting said. When I handed her a triple pack here, and anyway, whoa, it's heavy. And I hadn't really thought about that much until then. And so you're going to need extra strong benching. And my benching is, each bench is designed to take 0.8 of a ton, or 800 kilograms. So, I've noticed that with each thaw you can get an extra 10% of water in each time. So we're already at 2.5 times the amount of water of just the normal sloshing around in the bucket. Yeah, I've done triple and quadruple fluffings. I've got my experiment set up now, and well, I'm just waiting for the results, which I won't have until well, another month's time, until Christmas, basically. I've got my chemicals ordered for Christmas. One of them is in Australia, and I should get before Christmas, and because I'm ordering selenium salts and tellurium salts, and the other's in America, so I won't get it until like mid-January, maybe late January. Oh well, at least I have one to play with over the weeks following the Christmas lull, and should have results, you know, by well, the first quarter to the first third of next year. Yes or no, selenium yes, or tellurium yes or no. As you probably know, that selenium and tellurium are used as vulcanizing agents in the harder rubbers such as car tyres and particularly aeroplane tyres. They make that really hard, resilient rubber, and that's why when your hoons go down your street and they burn rubber, you get that awful awful sign. Please, for whatever you do, tellurium is not as poisonous as selenium, but please try not to inhale, because it still has an LD50, which is pretty horrendous. So, I mean, the LD50 for selenium is 400 milligrams, which is about a tenth of a level teaspoon to kill the average 80 kilogram person. So, in other words, if you fed that to 100 80 kilogram people, you get around about 50 of them will die, and any of the remaining people that survive will probably be blind. So we're getting to the end of a very long journey and getting to the really interesting but also very dangerous side of things. So that's the way things go. As to your thing here, I hope the camera can actually adjust. I'll just check. Very interesting. I assume this is in preparation for I'll hold it about there. In preparation for your next year's newsletter, early next year. I don't think you've done this for me, but it's very nice if you have. And I like the DI colours, the blue and the green. That's very, very nice. One thing I've noticed though is all your traps are completely devoid of that nice, the salmon pink colour. That seems to be due to low copper, because I don't know if you know this. But sphagnum bogs are renowned for these things known as bog iron and bog copper, the things that the Stone Age man used to, not really Stone Age man, should be going into before the Bronze Age anyway. They used to go and get bog iron and bog copper because it was easy. It was in the nascent state, in other words, it has copper metal and there's iron metal, and they could make arrowheads and things like that out of it by just, copper's quite soft. If you bang it enough, you can actually mould it into a shape. It'd take you days to do it probably, but once you've made a copper arrowhead, you can do a lot of things with a copper arrowhead that you couldn't do with a flint one. It's a lot tougher. But yeah, they used to get that from the bogs, and so it's just an idea. It looks like you've got your iron levels right, because they're growing all right. But check your copper level. I reckon that if you want to get that nice salmon pink colour in these traps, try lowering your copper. That's what we're working on with the next stage, is taking out the iron, the copper, and hopefully we're trying to find a method to take out the manganese and the boron, so that we can switch over to these sedge peats, because sedge peats, of course, are higher in lignin. And that's the way to go, trying to get. But also trialling substituting for lignin using the urea formaldehyde foam, and I'll pause it and show you. Yeah, these things, Oasis wall foam. I'm picking them up. Buy them at cheapest tips, but if you ride off, you can get one of these product catalogues. They're actually made here in South Australia. Which is, there goes the cat food. And they've got all the various things, and you can actually buy these giant bricks. I don't know if you can see that one, the so-called designer brick. It's quite a large one. That's the sort of thing I think you'd order. It's the size of a big cardboard box basically, and that's what you really want to do. And unfortunately, they have a bit too much iron in them, so I crush them up and run them through the polypeat process to get the iron out, and to I don't know if they've got any copper in them, but they've definitely got some iron in them, so you can't just grind them up and stick them in your potting mix. You have to run it through the same process, and once you've done that, you seem to be better growth. But at the moment I'm trying to put it all together, get the peat right, mix it with that, and I don't know whether you actually need the fertiliser at all, because I only noticed this, I don't know if you've seen on some of the other videos I've put out, but when you got the peat and the wax in contact with these foam blocks, because I was using these as my so-called capillary blocking system, the fungus grew extremely well when it was in contact, and would actually grow like 1.5 millimetres into this stuff. But it was the right idea. It certainly grows quite well with that. Hang on, I'll just get rid of this cat food. It's in my sandal. Hang on, sorry. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll put this year's show on the tape, and I'll probably put last year's show as well if I can find it. It's on one of the other tapes, and I'll give you just a general fill-in. But I've got this Rennie Formist. This is from Brian Denton. He's not bad. It's $1.50 for this. He had them at $1.50 or $3, and he was selling them at $3 last year, which was quite good. And I got some then. Unfortunately, they're in sphagnum moss, as you can see that, and you can't really tell whether they're serpentine responsive or not, because you need the lignin, of course, to get the growth response. But last year I found out that they were pretty tolerant to seem to be pretty tolerant to the serpentine heavy metals, but I can't tell whether that's because they've got a waxy coating on the leaves or not. If you've noticed, if they've got a very waxy coating, and when the stem goes that nice pinky purple, it also gets a nice... Have you seen this? This is in the latest Carniflora australis, the latest one out. You've probably got it now. There's an article by Chris Sherrill in there about flowering Utricular Reniformis. So I suggested to Brian yesterday when I wrote to him, I said thank you very much for the very cheap plants, and I sent him a copy of this one because he only had a chance to read it at the show yesterday before he handed it this thing to me, because it only came in this week. He talks about adding Aquasol, and I said to Brian, well, why not just try potassium sulfate, but at the same molarity or strength as the Aquasol, and then if you get flowering that way, well, then you've only got two elements to worry about, the potassium and the sulfur, because you can disregard the oxygen, because that's just bound up with it as the sulfate. But that would mean it's just like a flush sort of thing, you know, increasing the strength and then dilution, and that will tie up with probably the ideas with the selenium, because I don't know if you know this, but I got onto selenium with that article I sent you from that book. Hang on, I'll show you. See, I like old books, and you've got things like, and there's the Green Wisdom one I was talking about. That has the I sent you the article on, and then there's one like photosynthesis. I like old books because they give you a lot of history. They're not like these modern books they started doing in the 70s, and they just like some person sits down with 5 books and takes a bit out of this, a bit out of that, and it has no background knowledge of themselves. It hasn't been in the thing for half their life or anything, and really knows nothing about it. You're just sort of copying in a way, and you lose so much. That's why I prefer the old books. Now, being a book collector yourself, I assume it's similar for yourself. But yeah, I like the glossy cover of this new Carniflora australis, or the so-called Asian Pacific Carnivorous Plant Society now. Well, they call themselves Australasian, but that causes a bit of a hassle. Oh well. Yeah, so this is supposed to... but you see that lovely green colour on there? Interesting. He said he only puts his Aquasol on there for 4 hours and then flushes it out. So I assume that the potassium gets bound up, because that's the sort of thing I'm doing now, is the extensions to the polypeat process. I'm doing things like that where I put a high loading in the peat and then I flush it out to... I'm actually flushing now to 8 times dilute, you know, a factor of 8, you know, because I found that by adding these sorts you get even more tannins coming out of the peat. So yeah, so it's what's that, 200 and something dilution now. Anyway, certainly gets rid of the iron and and I found a way to get rid of the copper as well. Now it's just trying to find a way to get rid of the boron. Whether that's the use of aluminium, I don't know, but then there's manganese, whether you can counter the manganese by flushing out by increasing the magnesium levels. Well, I'll have to do those experiments. I haven't actually got round to doing them. I'm just setting them up at the moment, so I can't give you any feedback on that until probably February, I suppose. Another 8 to 12 weeks, because it takes so long now. Oh, that's the other thing, is going through these freezing stages. I found all you have to do is, wait now, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see this, but whoa, it's heavy. Yeah, you don't have to freeze it for a week. I've done an experiment. The larger the volume of peat, the longer it will take to thaw out. And so if you have like 50 cubic capacity or something, you know, like 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres, then it might take a week to thaw out. But what I have discovered, you have to have lots of water in there. It must get to this stage. It mustn't go. It must get to this glass-like stage, so that hang on, I don't know if you can. Hang on, let me get something. This one time. Right, it's got to have this sound. Yeah, it's sort of like clinker type chinking sound. Then you know that's it, and that's all you have to get it to, and that only takes like 2 or 3 days to do that. So you know that's cutting the time down to like if you want to quadruple fluff it, you can get it down to about a week if you you know, like you put it in tonight and you give it a day in the deep freeze, because I've got a deep freeze in the shed. Hang on, I might show you. Hang on. There you go. I've just got a few in there now. This was absolutely chockers when I, for the August meeting handout. I just took in 2 great big crate loads, but I'm only just doing the little experiments at the moment. Each of the pair of those 2 packets down there, and they're different, separate experiments. As usual, you start with a small scale, and then you work up. If you get your water level right, you can't close the packet. But anyway, that's what it is. So that's the closing down of that, and that's -17 to -19 in there. So it does a quick freeze. It's quite good. This is something you might not have seen. This is copper 1 chloride. Yeah, it's got a lovely limey green thing, and you make it even stronger than that, it goes to an orangey yellow sort of colour, but then it becomes unstable, and you get all these copper oxide, copper chloride sort of things fall out of solution. But yeah, that's the way to get rid of the copper, because the copper 1 chloride is much more soluble than the copper 2 chloride. So you've got to get it to the green copper 1 to get it to flush out. Or it's actually, once you get it out as copper 1, it's then in solution, but when you dilute and you flush it, it goes to copper 2. But it's now in solution, not in the peat, so it's easy to flush out. Does that make more sense to you? Copper 1 is more soluble, and that's how you get it into solution. And then, but as you dilute through your 1:8 dilution thing, it goes back to copper 2, but it's now in the water solution, not in the peat. So it's readily more flushable. Anyway, that's the secret. As you can see, I'm working on different types of steep. Just in buckets, trying a steep of 1 week. See if we can pull more copper and more iron out of the peat, rather than just trying to do it in that 7-minute boil up. We might find we get even more, and we might be able to pull some of the other elements out as well and make the peat even better. So anyway, this is oops, get the focus right. This is where we're heading. I don't know if you can see those marks there. You can see that with the peat, it grows between 1.5 to 2 centimetres in every 24 hours. Depending on whether you get a day of sunshine or not, of course. We took this one to the show, and we actually marked it at the show from 11:30 one day to 11:30 the next day. Let's get closer. I can get closer. Trying to. Oh yeah. Yeah. It seems to pause as it unfurls and fattens up there. And we're getting there, but I reckon the answer is going to be something like selenium or something. Because not much work has been done on the sulphur side of things in plants. They get to like PAFs, and then that's where the book ends, sort of thing. And I'm saying, well, where's the rest of the book, you know? Yeah. You see, I think we can do a lot better than this. But once we get all the factors together, and hopefully, if selenium turns out to be the answer,